Hello, it's Lindsay Weaver. I'm alive, somehow. Big news, I'm out of the vent. Right now I'm sitting in the bend of a corridor, and though I know it's not safe, it feels amazing to no longer be stuck in a cramped space, to finally be able to breathe freely. My body still aches, especially my back, and I'm still hungry and tired with no clue where Flynn went, but I'm alive, and I'm free. The Organist's Son. Episode 6. The Traveler. I guess I should tell you what happened after last time I talked with you. I was just about to end the recording when I saw it. A figure crouching in front of me in the darkness, so far that the light of my phone almost didn't reach it at all. It's here, I thought, and I struggled to keep the calm resignation I'd tried to cultivate. Struggled not to feel the terror that seeped through the thin veneer of my bravado like it was nothing. But as the figure backed away further into the shadows, I realized it was much too small, much too human, and that I could still hear the scratching from outside. This wasn't the monster. I called out to the person in the shadows, but they did not respond, just retreated further, scurrying backwards in the cramped space incredibly quickly. I felt desperation grow in my chest as I saw them leaving. A sliver of hope that I'd thought extinguished for good had been set alight by their arrival, and now with every movement they took away from me that fire faltered, and the darkness that consumed me before seemed harsher in the wake of its light. In that moment I gripped the match tightly and fanned it into a forest fire. I knew that the brighter I let it burn, the worse it would be when it was over, when I was left in the darkness again with the cruel memory of the roaring flames burned into my retinas. But in that moment, I didn't care. I let my hope burn freely, consuming me whole as I forced my broken body to move, to scramble clumsily after something that might, just might be my salvation. They were quick, but I was desperate, chasing them through the pain that seared through my flesh as I contorted and twisted to turn and crawl and drag myself after this stranger, after the only hope I had left. I did not reflect on the impossibility of the chase as it was happening, didn't question why the vent no longer narrowed, didn't ponder why I could now pass through what I was absolutely certain had been a hole the size of my arm before. It felt natural that the tunnels closed off behind me, that sometimes, if I wasn't quick enough, the vent would close around my feet, metal twisting and tightening as if it were an organic creature, a metal beast of winding burrows that wanted me to stay, wanted to keep me in its grasp forever. I shuddered to think what would have happened if I'd been a bit slower, if I'd been unable to pull my legs free. I can't imagine how much it would have hurt to feel the metal pressing down on you, an unrelenting metal cage that closed in around you tighter and tighter and tighter, reshaping your body as it pleased, your ribs and spine and skull breaking until you were nothing more than a helpless pile of meat stuck forever in an unrelenting metal coffin. But that's not what happened. Instead, the chase came to an end, the pursued jumping out of the corridor just as I caught up, both of us tumbling out of the vent in a graceless heap. The stranger struggled to get me off them, nearly landing an elbow in my face as I hurriedly crawled back. They got on their feet, and before I had the chance to act, they turned to leave. "Wait! I don't want to hurt you!" I exclaimed, scrambling to get up off the floor. They paused, looking back at me with wide, suspicious eyes. They were short, features delicate and pointy, most of their body hidden beneath a large blue cloak that swallowed their frame. "What do you want, then?" They spoke quietly, voice clear and sharp like a shard of glass. I want to find my friend Flynn. I wasn't quite sure I truly meant that. Really, what did I want? To go home? I guess that's what I should have said. I don't remember your friend. I didn't understand what they meant by that. It seemed an odd way to talk about someone you didn't know, but then again, perhaps I shouldn't assume that this person from another world would speak in a way that was logical to me, and I was hardly in a position to question them. Could you help me look for him? They paused, dark eyes narrowing in consideration. I waited with bated breath, hoping they would agree. I might not know this person at all, but they seemed capable of navigating this place in a way I wasn't. And while the monster wasn't here at the time, I knew with certainty that I wasn't equipped to take it on. This world was confusing and hostile, and I desperately did not want to traverse it alone, even if that meant putting my trust in a complete stranger. The artist might know him. It wasn't the response I had expected, but it wasn't a refusal. Who's the artist? I asked. The stranger's face grew blank, lips parting slightly as something painful flashed across their features. Just as quickly as it had arrived, it disappeared, and when they spoke again, it was with indifference. I don't remember, but I'll take you to her. They took a few steps forward, picked something out of their pocket and held it toward me. Drink. I hesitated, but my worries about drinking something a stranger gave me were easily overtaken by my thirst. I grabbed the brown glass bottle and drank the liquid within in greedy gulps, the water finally quenching the thirst that pounded beneath my temples. Somehow it wasn't empty, even though it felt like I had taken more than it could possibly contain. In fact, it didn't feel any lighter at all, which was curious, but I didn't remark on it. Without a word, the stranger started walking, large blue cloak flowing out behind them as they moved along the corridor. I followed, feeling awkward and clumsy as my body readjusted to standing after having been stuck in the same position for so long. I'm Lindsay Weaver, by the way. What's your name? I'm a traveler. I didn't understand, and they didn't elaborate. We walked like that for a long time. It was hard not to feel skittish, not to imagine the sound of almost inaudible scratching rising from behind us, not to study the paintings for a sign of a stain that didn't belong. The traveler listened and watched as well, cautious eyes constantly scanning the environment around them, but they did not seem afraid. Despite how the corridor spread in a sprawling maze of nigh-identical paths obscured almost completely in darkness, they seemed sure of where they were going. They didn't even seem to need the light from my phone, walking on into the shadows with a sense of calm that makes me think they've gotten used to the darkness. I can't imagine what it must be like, navigating this place without light, but I think that's what they do. They must have been here a long time. We stopped a couple of times, the traveler carefully studying the paintings around us before grabbing that brown bottle out of their pocket and taking a drink. The bottle looked innocuous enough, but there was definitely something odd about it. Even after both of us drinking from it repeatedly, it remained full. After maybe the fourth time we stopped, when I was absolutely, completely sure there shouldn't be anything left, I asked them why it hadn't run out. They looked at me like I wasn't making sense. It doesn't run out. But how? I asked. Things don't end here, they said. What do you mean by that? Things don't end here, they repeated. Things don't end here. I wonder what that really means. How can there be a place where things don't end? I know this is a different world, but it raises so many questions. If the water in the bottle cannot run out, does that mean there's no end to the corridors? If there's no end, then how can you ever get anywhere? Wouldn't getting to a place mean that the journey you started to get there ends, therefore meaning that some things do in fact end? Or maybe it just affects things, not actions. What happens if we die? Can we? Do we age? I don't know the answer to any of these questions. But hey, at least I think I know why my phone hasn't run out of battery yet. Looks like I won't have to worry about that for a while. Eventually we stopped, the traveler nodding to himself and sitting down in a corner. I tried to start a conversation, asked about where they were going, about where they were from. They never gave me a real answer. All they said is, "I told you, I'm a traveler," as if that would clear everything up. I've asked them what the monster is, too. They haven't answered that either. Didn't even give me a reply. I don't know if that's because they don't know or if it's just that they don't want to tell me. I'm trying to be content with not knowing, trying not to see this as a mystery to solve. It's honestly not easy. I know I gave you all that big speech last time about how I've been acting like this was fiction. I really do think I've been taking things a bit lightly. I really could have died back there. I would have if not for sheer dumb luck. I need to make more sensible decisions from here on out, because next time I might not be so fortunate. I know that. But now that I'm no longer in that dire situation, now that the spectre of imminent death has left my side, I feel that resolve fading along with the fear. With every passing moment, the danger feels further away, more abstract, less real. I find that excitement growing in my chest again, that urge for exploration and adventure waking anew from where it slept within my bones. I find myself wondering what's so wrong about curiosity. What's so wrong with wanting to discover something different from what I knew before? After all, it feels so good to indulge in. How can it be wrong? I know reality hasn't gone away. I know my old life is still there, waiting for me to return. But it feels so hazy now, so distant. I find it hard to remember what the sky looked like, what it felt like to be in a house with rooms, a place that ended. I know I should care that I left it. I know it should matter that I've been gone, that Georgie will be worried, but although I know that it does, I struggle to feel like it matters. It's all so far away, so distant compared to the corridors and paintings of this place, compared to this stranger, compared to the adventure. Oh, I forgot to ask, do you want to say hello to the listeners? Okay, that's fine. They're not the most talkative, but I promise, they're here. They're sitting across from me, cloak wrapped around most of their body, only the face peeking out between the folds. It would look cozy if it weren't for the alertness in their eyes, gaze suspiciously surveying the corridors for a sign of danger. They remind me a lot of a bird of prey, perched at the top of a mountain, wings wrapped around it as it watches. This is cool, right? I know you said so before we started. Well, not at your consent at least, but tell me if it makes you uncomfortable, okay? I really hate to be a bother, especially since you've been so kind to me. Can I continue? I'm going to take that as a yes. Now, where was I? We've stopped here, presumably to rest. I'm definitely not complaining about that because I'm exhausted. It's been so long since I slept, and though I might be temporarily immortal, I can absolutely still feel the effects of that. Gosh, when was it even I slept last? It was back home, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, I remember waking up and there was this thing I needed to do for it doesn't matter. Hey, I know I asked you this before, but where are you going exactly? That's fine, you don't have to answer. I really wish you would, because I really do want to know, but you don't have to. I'm used to talking to myself by now. It's just, maybe I could come with you to wherever you're going. I know I said I wanted to find Flynn, and I do, but if we don't find him, then it's just I can't imagine what it must be like. I can already feel how different this place is from my world. I mean, everything's different, even down to the basic laws of nature. In my world, everything ends. There's a finite supply of everything from water and air to the very particles that make up the cells in my body. It's all one big cycle. The atoms that are now me were once part of something else that lived and died, something that drank the water I drink and breathed the air I breathe. It's all been used before, rearranged and reconfigured into different constellations of things, of life. Everything dies, and from it something else is made. But even the cycle will end eventually. Sooner or later, the universe will grind to a halt, the stars flickering out one by one until all that's left is heat and darkness. To think of a world without endings, a world that just exists, unchanged and eternal, is so alien to me. It's so antithetical to everything I know about everything that I don't know how to comprehend it, and I want to. I want to see it. I want to understand. Is this where you're from? Were you born in this world of corridors and dust? Were you born at all? You look so human, so it's hard to believe that you weren't. I thought for sure there would be something absolute distinguishing people from our world from others, but hell, we're even speaking the same language. How can that possibly be if we're from places built from such different premises? I'm sorry. I'll stop asking so many questions. I wonder what Georgie would say if she were here. I bet she'd tell me to stop being so enthralled by how things work and focus on getting home unharmed. She always was the sensible one. Like that time in the movie theater where... No, wait. That was in school, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We were doing something we weren't supposed to. God, it's hard to remember. Georgie. Wait. Was her name really Georgie? It wasn't, was it? It started with a G, right? Or no, it was a D. Danielle? Was that it? I can't remember. She was important, right? I really think she was important, that she meant something to me, and now I can't remember her name. Why can't I remember her name? Wait, no, it was definitely Danielle, right? Yeah, Danielle. Gosh, I can't believe I forgot that for a minute there. I feel weird. Like I'm trying to think, but it's hard. Like there's not a wall or a block or anything, just like my mind is slippery. Like the details of my life before are grains of sand, slipping through my fingers even as I grasp them harder. Every individual part so tiny and indistinguishable from the rest that as they fall to the ground I cannot even see what it is that I've lost. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe this is just some paranoid delusion, some fever dream my tired brain has cooked up. I haven't eaten or slept in a few days after all, so it makes sense that I am not at my best. Yeah, that's probably it. I can't shake the feeling that I'm forgetting something. That something is slipping further and further from my mind, and I get this fear in the pit of my stomach that whatever it is, it's going to keep drifting further away. And if I don't catch it soon, I might lose it forever. But I'm probably just tired. I'm sorry about this whole thing. You know, listeners, I'm going to take a nap. Maybe that will clear my head up. What was I even talking about? That's weird. I don't remember.